Welcome to Patriot Talk. I am Todd Holman. So this last year of 2021 has been a hell of a ride. Um, New president, um, first day in office, signed a lot of executive orders. Some of those executive orders just annihilating jobs. Not a good time to do that. Middle of pandemic. Um, you know, and then by the end of the year, boasting that um, he's created more jobs, than the previous president. So, what is the truth behind that? Uh, you know, I went and I did my research and found that um, he's no better than any other president. I went on to um, the Department of Labor website and on the Bureau of Labor Statistics website and got some numbers. And I went all the way back to January 2011, looking at unemployment rates. So January 2011, Obama was in office. The House was controlled by the Democrats and the Senate was controlled by the Republicans, and we had a rate of unemployment rate of 9.1%. For those of you that may not understand unemployment rates, the higher the number, the worse. Okay, that means that is the percentage of the working population that has jobs. Okay, at least that's what's reported. This does not account for people that have more than one job. All right. So by the end of 2011, the the unemployment rate dropped from 9.1 to 8.5%. So that is a total of 0.6% decrease. So an improvement of 0.6%. That's actually not too bad. The following year, 2012, started at 8.3 by the end of January to 7.9 end of December. Okay, so we are still improving. That is still with Obama, House Democrats, Senate Republicans. Same situation in 2013. It crept up slightly in January, 8%, and then dropped by the end of December to 6.7%. Still great. That is showing improvement. Go into 2014, starting at 6.6 and ending at 5.6. That's an improvement of 1%. A lot of people don't necessarily think that 1% is actually a really good improvement on an unemployment rate. When you're talking about a country with a population, at least at that time, 325 million people, give or take. So 2015, one thing changed. So President Obama was in the Oval Office. The House switched from Democrat to Republican control, and the Senate remained in Republican control. Started at 5.7 and ended at 5.0 with a 0.7% improvement, which is still great rate. All right. So that next year, 2016, we go from 4.9% to 4.7%. Sounds great. So, and it is great. That's a 0.2% improvement. So we are seeing an improvement trend from 2011. 2017 so January 2017 is when President Trump was inaugurated, when he took office. Started January at 4.7% and ended December in 4.1%, which is a 0.6% improvement. 2008. Oh, and so we went from Trump in the Oval Office, Republican House and Republican Senate, going to 2018. No change there. As far as the House and the Senate and the Oval Office, starting at 4.1% to 3.9%. Again, that's a 0.2% improvement. So wonderful. 2019 is when the Senate switched over to Democrat majority, but the House remained as Republican majority. We started the year off at 3.5% and ended the year at 3.5%. Okay, so no change. There was change throughout the year, but overall no change for the whole year. 2020. So here's where we really start to get, rather interesting. We started January of 2020 at 3.5%. Again, Trump in the Oval Office, Republican House rule, and Senate where the Democrats. January, we had the first confirmed case of COVID-19 in Washington State. We remained at 3.5% for the next month. March, we were at 4.4%, but it was also in March that the pandemic was declared and shutdowns began. People still had their jobs, but they were being sent home. All right. This is when the CARES Act and the FFCRA Act, were signed. This was, those were contributing to a federal assistance for unemployment. I've already addressed that in a previous video that I, entitled Unemployment. I'll tag that at the end of this video. So March, 4.4%, but then followed by April at a 14.8% unemployment rate. The last time we saw something like that, 1982, we had 10.8%. Going further back, let's see here. Here we go. 1940 at 14.6%. 1940, and that's when the U.S. draft for World War II was enacted. So the last time we saw 14% was at the beginning of World War II. But this time in 2020, it was due to the pandemic. Everyone was sent home, and told, lock up, mask up, spray everything down, with bleach. Don't talk to each other, don't have parties, don't have gatherings, don't go to work, don't do anything. And I know in a lot of states, if you were considered essential personnel, you essentially carried a note with you saying that you're essential personnel, and that you could travel around. May of that year, there was a 1.5% improvement to 13.3%. And then in June, it was improved another 2.2% to 11.1%. In July, we went to 10.2%. August, 8.4%. So as after the initial lockdown, we started to show improvement, each month. By December, we were back at least down to a 6.7% unemployment rate, which, considering middle of pandemic, people, were being enticed not to work. Again, my unemployment video goes over that. 6.7%. Yes, overall, it was a 3.2% increase, from the beginning of the year. But considering, 4 months in, we were hitting just under 15%. The very next year, Biden took office, and the House switched to the Democrat majority, and the Senate maintained a Democrat majority. And we started the year at a 6.3% unemployment rate. So the previous president, President Trump, was already showing a downward trend. Okay, so an improvement in the unemployment rate. And it continues to do so. Starting from January, going through 6.3 to 6.2 to 6.0. Bumped up to 6.1, but back down to 5.8 in May. Back up to 5.9 in June, but down to 5.4 in July, 5.2, 4.8, 4.6, 4.2 in November. And at this time, we do not have December's numbers. But, you do see an overall trend in that downward percentage rate showing, more jobs are being occupied. All right. This isn't, this trend is not jobs being created. It's people going back to work. And you can say that about any president. It's not so much, hey, jobs are being created, because you can go out anywhere, anytime, and see, help wanted signs, now hiring. So it's a matter of those individuals getting the job, okay, and no longer collecting unemployment. One of the things over 2021 that happened that has been rather controversial is President Biden's mandates and his executive order toward the vaccine. The executive order stating that all federal employees must be vaccinated. Well, that time has come and gone, and anyone that is a government employee must be vaccinated to continue working for the federal government. What a lot of people don't see right now is all those federal government workers losing their jobs. Well, would you want to be the sitting president that laid off a huge amount of federal workers in the middle of the holiday season? Highly doubtful. What happened was that the deadline to be vaccinated or have your waivers submitted, be it for medical or religious exemptions, that had to be done and completed in November. But then the layoffs were delayed. Well, not only were the layoffs delayed, is that they were told, let me back up. So federal employee supervisors, management executives, were told that in December, for every one of the of your employees that are not vaccinated or will not comply to the executive order must be written up. And then after the new year, we will process, the layoffs or the firings. Really, it's the firings. I wouldn't even say layoff. They're going to be fired. So after the new year, what's going to happen is before the firings, they are going to be written up again. So what this does for someone that works for the federal government is it shows a pattern, a progressive pattern of disobeying a direction, a lawful order, however you want to put it. They are not complying to the president's orders. So when that happens, and they get progressive evaluations, or sorry, progressive write-ups, it makes it a lot more difficult later for them to ever get a federal job again. Because when you go apply for a federal job, the HR departments are going to see that. Oh, you know what? They weren't following direction. They're not going to even make the list to be interviewed. They're going to be blackballed. They're going to be blacklisted. So even if the the next president that comes along, you know, invalidates President Biden's executive order, their record still states that they did not comply to orders. So they won't be able to work for the federal government ever again. If they wanted to or if they didn't want to, it doesn't matter. It won't happen. So not only has this administration, kind of held off to show that, they aren't that administration that's going to lay off tens of thousands of people at Christmas or the holidays, however you want to say it. But, they're going to say, well, look what we did with the unemployment rate. Okay, you know what? Unemployment rate, that is a regular trend that has been going on since at least 2011 when I went back to. So how fair is it to force these individuals into doing something that they don't want to do, and prevent them from ever working for the federal government ever again? Something that may end up being, an order being reversed later. So really, a lot of this is, it's not just the unemployment issue. It's the vaccine issue. It's the mandates. It's the executive orders. There's a lot of things going on that aren't necessarily appropriate. One of the best things that federal employees can do right now, if you haven't done so already, if you are someone that is on the chopping block, in December you got written up for not complying to the executive order, I would highly suggest that you resign. I'm not saying that because, I feel that you're doing the wrong thing. I strongly feel that you're doing the right thing. But in the future, if you desire to work for the federal government again, quit on your terms. Don't quit on theirs. If you quit on their, if you're forced out, it is going to affect you forever. So quit on your terms. Because even if you've been written up once, if you resign now, that next write-up, it doesn't affect you because you've already given your notice. So you won't have that progressive disciplinary problem on your record. I strongly commend, those that made the choice to take that stand. Bravo it's good for you, truly, good for you, because really this should be your choice, not someone else's choice. Kind of rambling, going back and forth, kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, but nonetheless, going to bring it back in. When it comes down to it, Biden didn't do anything, extraordinary with the unemployment rate. Uh, if anything, just looking at statistics alone, you could say Trump did extraordinary things for the unemployment rate, considering it went, from due to the pandemic, it went to over 14%, and he got it back down, but he didn't actually bring it back down because what it was the pandemic. People adjusting, getting back to work. I mean, even this year, that the federal employment benefits expired in September. It went from 4.8% to 4.6% in October. So really, there wasn't a huge difference because of that. I mean, the bigger difference would have been August 5.2 to 4.8, but that's still 0.4% improvement when the benefits expired. But we were already seeing that downward trend. People going back to work. A lot of this is, what the administration wants you to see and believe. It's what the media wants you to see and believe. Everything's getting whitewashed. We're given that doom and gloom. There's a lot of times I just turn off the news. It doesn't matter what news source it is. Sometimes I just have to turn off the news and just get away from it. One of the big reasons why I haven't put out a video in 4 months. Just had to get away. But it's a new year. For those of us that currently have a job, wonderful. Keep working, keep going. For those of you that don't have a job or are about to get laid off, get back up on that horse. Find a job. Go out there. Get your resume ready. Anybody should have their resume ready at any time. So get out there. Stand up. Be strong. And speak out. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please email me at the address that flashed up down there. On this in the right. Where's my hand? Right there. So the email address that pops up right here. Go ahead and email there. patriottalk1776 at gmail.com. Go ahead and leave comments on the videos. Hit that like. Smash the bell so you can get those notifications. And by all means, be a patriot. Think for yourself. Stop being a lamb. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you have a great 2022. Oh, hey. Sorry, took me off guard. You know what? Since you're still watching, go ahead and tap on unemployment. And when you're done with unemployment, why don't you check out Papers, Please? And if you haven't already, hit subscribe.